Live from Studio A in PressCorps World Headquarters, this is Zero Dark PressCorps. It's a live, community-based call-in show, fielding your thoughts on and tales from the Foxhole War. So join the Discord right now through the link below, sign in through the call queue text channel, and hop in the voice lounge for a chance to share your story. Tonight's developer guest, concept artist Julian. And now, your host, 13-time winner of the Geoffrey Jennings Award for Excellence in Journalism, Geoffrey Jennings.
All right. Already loving all the Julian memes. I'm absolutely loving it. Welcome to Zero Dark PressCorps. Just as the man said, I'm Geoffrey Jennings. And yeah, tonight we have a very special guest. Not that the other devs aren't special, but we do have a first-timer here on the show in terms of the developers. And we have concept artist Julian. Julian, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Fantastic. I imagine it's very busy in the office right now, or the virtual. Because I know you work remotely. We were talking about that earlier.
Yes. Yeah, I'm working remote from Montreal.
Yeah. So, but still, I'm sure it's a lot of. Are you sick of the video format? The meetings. Do you guys do Zoom? Because I'm sick of Zoom.
We do Zoom in the morning, or over Discord, but same deal. And yeah, other than to everyone having like bedhead and being sleepy and whatnot, then it's fine. Yeah.
I can relate very much so, and I think a lot of people can too. But you know what? Yeah, I'm actually going to do a couple of quick questions here, just in case you're not familiar with who Julian is, and even I'm not too familiar with exactly what he does. What parts of Foxhole do you contribute to, and like what is your kind of your job realm consist of?
Well, I'm the concept artist at the studio. I obviously draw all of the 2D art. I do promo art and any like mood concept art, mood art. I do a lot of review, like when I finish a concept and hand it off to a 3D modeler, they model it, and then there's a period where I'll review it, like review proportions or details, or just make sure it's kind of in keeping with the concept, in like the spirit of the concept, because sometimes if you make a certain element like too long, too large, too whatever, it kind of kills the feel that Mark liked and approved in the concept. So there's back and forth in that. Let's see, I don't do icon art, like gun icon and bullets and ammo and stuff. That's not me. But that's just because Adam does it, and he does it really quickly. So there's no point in having me do it when he's doing it fast already. And kind of keeping track of everything, like where 3D assets are along the pipeline, who needs to do what next, until it's a finished 3D model. I keep track of a lot of that stuff, and then once it gets handed off to animation, I don't have to care about it anymore.
Okay.
Then it's up to HB to send it down the pipe after that.
Okay, so kind of like keys to the kingdom up to a certain point in the kingdom.
Yes.
That's cool.
I do a lot of bugging Mark with ideas that get thrown out. Like even before they hit a concept stage, I'll just be like, wouldn't this be cool? And he'll be like, shut up, I'm in a meeting or something. So that happens a lot. Yeah.
Do you have anything to do with game balance?
Absolutely not. I have zero to do with it. And if I did, I would I don't know. Everything would be broken. Everything would be bad if I did. Because I'm always like, we're adding a new tank. Let's make it the most powerful. Make sure it's the fastest, most powerful, most whatever thing ever. And they'll be like, it's the scout tank. Calm down. Like, I don't care. I love that. Like, we just made it and I love it. So, yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
I don't have a mind for it.
Yeah. So just a heads up to everyone trying to call in. If you do ask a question about balance, just know that Julian may not necessarily have all the full spectrum of I mean, he's got cool ideas. I think he kind of shares that with all of us deep down inside our hearts, but heart of hearts. But in terms of the actual balance and the deep act that goes into that, he may not be your man. So if you have a question about balance, feel free to ask it, and maybe we'll just go, okay, cool, or just get it on record.
I can lie to you and tell you it's going to happen. No matter, I'll just agree with every balance thing ever, and then we'll be fine.
You'll confirm everything tonight, Marcus.
Yeah, I'll confirm everything, no matter what.
Real last thing, actually, before we get to our callers, you did share a piece of concept art, and it looks like a mortar here.
Yes.
Where's that from? I'm assuming it's part of the big update that's coming up?
It is part of the now started and going to be ongoing weapons update. Like, or I guess the infantry arms race is what Mark called it. And I told him, I don't like that name. We should think of something else. But it was like 5 minutes before the dev stream. So we just went with infantry arms race. And I asked Mark, I was like, hey, can we show something off today? And we went through all the stuff and picked out something that we felt everybody knew was coming, because it's a good idea and it's iconic, and you guys would just want confirmation that it's coming down the pipe.
Well, just say yes. If you say blanket yes to everything, then
yes.
it'll mean nothing after this stream. Yeah. So yeah, for those who are looking to get a back door into some certain questions with Julian, you may be disappointed. But hey, you know what? Julian's going to answer what he can. Honestly, I'll give my hot takes because everybody loves that. Because I'm just the best player, without a doubt. Some guy who LARPs as a journalist and doesn't really fight. I feel bad because I'm really in the back line. I just love talking to people in the back line, and occasionally, and then maybe I'll do like one live. Anyway, no one cares about that.
No, it's fine. I LARP as a concept artist, or I LARP as a game dev. So
it's not LARPing if you get paid. But hey, regardless, I think we'll toss it into questions then, because I know I got a lot of people here who want to get in. Maybe if they'll ask you a question or at least say their piece. We're gonna do. We're going to institute a kind of experiment here, a 7-minute soft limit. So after, I'm going to say, hey, your 7 minutes begin now. And then after 7 minutes, I will not hard mute you or cut you off or move you out of the room. But I'm going to say, hey, 7 minutes have passed. Maybe you want to just wrap up, and maybe all 44 people who are watching are going to be like, hey, wrap it up. But that'll be on you. So. But regardless, I'm hoping to find that balance, because I hate to stifle good conversation, because sometimes, a good 15-minute conversation about something that's really been itching is nice, but you got to kind of balance it out too. And a lot of people who don't really have a chance to. Additionally, as usual, no drama, no talking about, hey, this person banned me, hey, this person stole my stuff. We can't, I don't know what you want us to do about it. First and foremost about that. And then also do have regimental rules. All of this is in the call queue channel. If you scroll all the way to the top, it's in pins. But in order to make sure a single group, a single regiment doesn't hijack a night with maybe the same question over and over again, we do have rules in place to kind of pace a group out, and you can read all that there. We usually like to group them up in maybe one call, and then they can sort themselves out and put everyone in between. But again, you'll get a feel for that as the night goes on, and I think we're going to start off with the HOC. I believe they weren't able to get in necessarily with a dev last week, but I think they're coming in now. Welcome to Zero Dark PressCorps, gentlemen.
Hey.
Hey, thanks.
Right, what do you have for us?
Well, I was going to ask about, I guess you're doing the concept art and whatnot.
Perfect.
So we've got the, the introduction of like the cold weather and the temperature gauge and whatnot. Have we got any stuff like in the pipeline for hotter weather or whatnot, like, the reverse or whatever?
Like a heat wave rushes through kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, you got any like sort of little things in the pipeline for, anything you might implement, like, like the snow treads for wardens? Will collies be getting an equivalent for that, or, maybe for the hotter weather?
Things are in the works for stuff like that, but it specifically hot weather has not come up, like overheating engines and whatnot. We haven't considered that just because of the region of space, like the kind of climate that it takes place. map takes place in. But stuff considering who do different factions get different advantages? Is rain a thing that we can give an advantage? How could we give an advantage to the collies using rain as a tool, or other fog or other weather elements? But specifically, hot weather hasn't been considered right now. No.
Yeah, cool. You got anything, Fireman?
Are you allowed to tell us any information on the tank that was in the concept art of the Winter Army, the Warden one?
Oh, I was expecting questions about the mystery tank of mystery.
He really wants to share it then.
Yeah. I can tell you. I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you that it got pushed back due to a change in game mechanic. In the dev blog, I mentioned that it got I did the art,
right?
And then Mark was like, "Oh, we're pushing that back," and I was like, "Do we still want it? Do we still want it in the art?" And we decided that we did as a teaser because it is coming. It's although you've only seen it, but it is coming. And the reason why it got pushed back is not it wasn't a balance issue. It wasn't to tease you guys in an intentional way. It was literally a game mechanic issue, that's something you guys haven't seen yet that I can't talk about. But there was a technical issue, that's the reason why it's not in there. And right now I can't talk about what type of tank it is or what it's doing, but there is a butt shot of it, so you can speculate from that.
Jesus, so wow. Damn. I was hoping for a 75mm tank destroyer or something, but something different sounds good. Maybe a bone saw tank, a big bone saw, eh?
Potentially, but I can't. I'm not. I don't know how to answer without not confirming or not denying anything.
This is exactly what Mark has mentioned too about questions where it's we might just do a beautiful tango around I can't. It's a tank, and you can poke and prod all you want. You're bound to mess up sometimes, so keep going, gentlemen. No, I'm kidding.
Keep asking about the tank and try to trip me up.
Is it slow or fast?
Slow. I'll give you that. Its intention is to be slow.
Perfect.
Is it bigger than the battle tank?
To weasel out of this, I'll say it depends on what angle you're looking at it from.
Oh my goodness. That's a lot right there.
Even the gun, hopefully.
Sorry.
Would that be the gun that's bigger than the battle tank?
No, it can't give that stuff away.
Okay.
There is an angle in which it is bigger than the battle tank.
I don't know. I think we might have reached the limit.
All out. Yeah. Safe.
Hey, remind me, what does HOC stand for again?
The Hans of Callahan.
Hans of Callahan.
I guess you could say we're sort of the reformed kind of Hans of Callahan. I don't know.
It's the second iteration of this clan name in a way. Yeah.
Well, in law reasons, I guess it used to be just Thievish, and the three clans that amalgamated were just by coincidence. One in law wise was Serovian, and the other was from Nick Nevin or whatever. So I guess you could say they're more tolerant these days.
Pretty sure. Hey, I don't know if you had anything else for us, but if not, thank you so much for stopping by. Because I know it's late for you guys, but you mentioned you're always up late. You guys are night owls.
Yeah.
That's the response I needed. You must do logistics.
A little bit.
Everyone has to do logistics these days just to keep the thing running.
That's true. Yeah. Julian, what do you do when you play the game? When you play Foxhole?
Either driving a truck, or I do frontline combat, but not. I just like to blend in with my alt account name and non-dev name, not alt account, but I don't know. There's something very cool to me since I designed everything in the game From like if I'm just have a SMG and I'm in like a ruined building and then you guys drive by in a tank. That's really freaking awesome for me. Or like a half-tracked tanks and like when stuff's going on around me and I'm seeing it all like animated and alive. That's what I like about the game. So I'm typically there just shooting a gun until I die and respawning and wasting your guys' precious shirts.
Well, if you ever fancy going on some like partisan operations, feel free to drop us an inbox on
Sure.
or whatever. Boys, happy to have you along. Get close to any other devs team or whatever. But right,
Bring it.
have a good one, lads.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, coming up next, we're gonna run right through these, and I'm pretty glad we are. Spots, welcome back to Zero Dark Press Corps. What do you have for us here tonight?
I just want, this is gonna be, just do that real quick. I actually want to see something more simple. Just new idle animations around the fire in the game, just around the fire pit, or whatever they call it. Just the fire, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I'm with
No, I don't. Unless you get the name exactly right, I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, stuff like that is HV's realm. Though I do know he loves doing idle animation. Like he just likes doing those little like fact of life idle animation, rubbing your hands when you're cold and all, like trying to warm up. And he's been having fun with the freezing to death animations recently. So there's interest from HB in all of that stuff.
Freezing to death, I instantly like, this system is going to be unturned, and I was correct.
I think there's a neat effect from my side of it where you guys are guessing literally everything all the time. So no matter what I'm working on, no matter what I'm like working on in the background that you guys haven't seen yet, someone's already guessed it. So I always look good to the community. I always look like I'm like someone always gets to say, "Oh, they did that thing I suggested," right? And it's 99% of the time it's been planned out a couple months ahead, and it's kind of coincidence that the person guessed it like the night before or something. And it's like it's cool to experience this like phenomena, because if we were making like a sci-fi game, right, it would be up and you guys wouldn't have as much of a tell as to what we're doing next. But everybody here knows everything from World War II or has an extreme like enthusiasm for the history of it. So we're kind of always taking from a pool that you guys already know about. Anyways, it's a lot of fun.
But I just want one simple thing in the game. When you're just sitting around this campfire, and this is just one simple thing. I want your character to actually make s'mores.
Make s'mores.
Just pull out a marshmallow.
If it's lore accurate, I'll check with Matt if he wants s'mores to be a lore accurate campfire treat.
It makes it kind of, my idea is that if this is like a unique animation, if you have like a Warden and Colonial, because
Yes.
during the snowstorm, you can't really fight in there because it's just gonna be you freeze to death like standing anywhere away from fire. So this might be a good time for like this might cause like a ceasefire on the front where Colonials and Wardens like actually come out and talk with each other.
Hey,
this would be a good time for all the instruments that people have wanted.
Yeah, instruments as well as that. Maybe like making s'mores, or in my opinion, Warrens make better chocolate than the Colonials, and Colonials make like better like Warrens don't really have access to certain items, and Colonials don't really have access to certain items. Chocolate is both sides have chocolate, but Warren chocolate is like better in the war.
I think you just started a whole new war right there. Like between whose chocolate is better.
If you can actually differentiate between like what is on the stick that's over the fire, like either a marshmallow or a cookie or some whatever, that'll be a nice detail. But you know, Spots, you did mention like weather and how severe it's going to be. I know that's like a huge thing right now because everyone's like, "Oh, cool weather" when the dev stream happened, and then like 10 minutes later, oh shit, weather. So that means
you run it and freeze to death, and you're like, wait a minute.
Now, yes, exactly. Well, Julian, let's get your take on it. What do you think about weather?
I love it. I know more about how it's implemented than you guys do, and I can't really spoil that system. But I really love the potential that the system has. I do think right now is the time for you guys to get in all the ideas you have of like this vehicle shouldn't freeze at this temperature or at this time, because like that's all really good feedback right now, because we're up for inspiration to kind of fully flesh out those elements of the weather system, but just kind of how it is going to impact front lines, back lines, like I don't know. It's a whole new world, and visually, I think it looks great too.
Just for reference, what is the best place to provide that feedback? What are some of the best places to provide that feedback?
Right now, I think the devs are fairly receptive to it. Like an example being that petrol should slow down the freeze on vehicles. That kind of I forget who pointed it out first. Like, I know you guys came up with it. I forget which dev pointed it out first in our chat from you guys, and Mark was immediately like, "This is a great idea. We have to do this like as fast as possible." And I think that in this period of dev branch, we're watching, we're listening. Obviously, the regular channel on FOD that I can't remember the name of now, where we put suggestions already.
Dev branch discussion?
Yeah. But yeah, we are currently receptive to that stuff. Go nuts.
Yeah, and let me provide some counter programming. Unless Spots, did you have anything?
Just one simple thing as well with weather. Are we ever going to see seasons in the game?
As in full-on summer, I don't think there's plans to have like the north go 100, have like no snow in it, if that makes sense. Like the snow that's on the ground is on the ground.
Like that's hard-coded into the map.
Yeah. And other than that, how long do you imagine a season to be?
I'm figuring out maybe like, in my opinion, they should do like 3 days, like
in real life.
Slowly but slowly, like
3 days.
Hold on to your butt then, because we are talking about how long, we don't yet know the average length of what a winter storm is going to be. So yeah, hold on to that question till later.
Now, people in the dev, I have not personally played the dev branch yet, and other people there will probably know about this already, but just for reference, how many levels, we're at time, but how many levels of storm is there? So it's not just like storm, no storm. No, there's levels, right? There's severity?
I don't have access to the system to input it, but I do know that it is very granular. For like it's not like we're implementing a tier 3 storm right now. It's a percentage game that they can play. Like they've got a lot of control over it.
I'm seeing in the chat three levels.
It's like it ramps up slowly, like between each level it ramps up slowly, and basically when it gets to tier 3, it's basically just anywhere you step outside of the fire range, you're gonna freeze to death on the Oregon Trail.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
It's basically if you stay like maybe like 5 or 3 minutes away from a fire, you're gonna most likely be freezing to death. Then.
Yeah, and we'll close on this. I think someone's bound to talk about this. I'm just gonna say I like it. Plenty of people have immediately made comparisons to Company of Heroes 2, which is a very good comparison. But I think there's some critical differences here that I think it'll work better in Foxhole. Obviously, a lot of tweaking, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Spots, thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah, Spot, you're the guy who's always making Ace Combat references, aren't you?
Yep.
Okay, because I have understood about 80% of them. I've played all the games and I love it. So,
have you played Project Wingman though?
Yes, I finished Project Wingman.
Yes, praise the Holy Orange. We shall turn Presidia to orange.
Yeah, no, I love the whole Ace Combat style of gameplay. I love.
Right,
Anyways,
one thing real quick.
Spots, okay, make it real quick.
Can we just have a ship called the Alicorn, please?
Possibly.
Okay.
Ships are a long, that update's a long way off, but you can name your own ship, actually.
Hey, seriously, I would actually love this. Ships, tanks, just naming your own stuff. Maybe from a very long predetermined list because people are going to be stupid with it. But yeah, I'm down for that. Hey, Spots, thanks so much. All right, coming up next from the 128th, Liquid, Popsicle, as well as others, not 82DK.
There's
people.
There's a lot of us. Uh-oh.
There we go.
Oh.
All right, Liquid.
And make sure you get CDRgauge as well.
Oh,
A.S.S
CDR.
member.
Logi.
Very top.
Oh, right. Okay, right. Okay. So.
Yep.
All right.
There we go.
So, Liquid, you go for it.
So, I feel like it's pretty obvious now. 128th is no longer in hibernation, but I can tell you, Julian, I've seen some of the concept art, specifically the art that was made for the howitzers. I love it. I'm curious if you have any more art that you've done that, like, maybe you're not able to share it yet, but like
100%.
You're excited about it? Anything like SPG related or anything like that?
I can't say anything.
Come on,
Is there anything you can tell me about this mortar
yes.
that I see? This tripod mortar?
Other than in the dev blog, I mentioned that I've done more small arms and tripod stuff, and I pointed this out to Mark. I was like, hey, can we show this off? Because I just wanted to show proof that we have more tripod stuff coming down the pipe. So that's why I tossed the mortar in there. And the mortar was fair. It was like everybody knows mortars, and everybody knows there's going to be a mortar, like a bigger mortar. So
yeah, I love the way it looks.
Thanks.
But so there's one last thing that me personally I was curious about. I know there's a lot of like older concept art that you've done, like back before there was a Warden light tank, when there was only the Colonial one. There were like a bunch of different like designs that you pitched. Do you think you might go back and actually like add some of those other designs as like different variants, different options to add more vehicles to the game?
A long time ago, because this game's we've been making it forever. There was talk of exactly that. It has not recently been a topic that we have to go back and reconsider it, but there was interest in doing that, where it would be like to kind of represent the different colonial regions. Light tanks might have like two different models that are clearly like visually distinct from one another, as almost a like role-playing tool more than a combat tool. But we are still obviously working on big elements of the game, like the weather stuff, that is getting in the way of that.
Yes, I think that'd be like incredibly cool as far as immersion goes.
Yeah.
That's all that I had. If there's anyone else that wanted to ask anything.
I have a question about your decision to place the magazines on the right side of the gun.
Oh, yes. Why?
That caused a riot.
Yeah.
No, a literal riot, because there were people in the dev branch, right? Like doing a standoff. Anyway, sorry. That's all beside the point. Yes.
Wait, which gun are you talking? I know there are
a couple.
I know.
I don't mean to speak for you, Storm, but like the I know
the storm rifle and the LMG.
Yeah, the storm rifle and the new Colonial LMG. Because the Colonial LMG's always been belt fed, right? Now it's got a box magazine on the right side, in front of where the shells are actually ejected, and it makes me very uncomfortable.
That I did notice the shell ejection being in the wrong spot. That is just a legacy thing that needs to be updated. The right-hand side has to, for the storm rifle, the right-hand side has to do with visibility, in terms of what you can see and like silhouette on, like, from the camera looking down on the character. That was a thing that happened when the first storm rifle model was there. Literally just because we thought you might not be able to see the thing. And we wanted some level of visibility. The right-hand side for the machine guns right now, I actually don't know why we picked leftover right on that one. I think it might have had something to do, although it doesn't, now that I'm thinking about it. We decided to skin everything to use the animation set from the anti-tank gun, just to pretty much to allow the programmers to just have to program for one set of animations so that we could do like the shooting out of trenches and stuff work really well without a lot of effort. But that doesn't really have anything. I'm not sure 100% about the right hand side, other than I can just make up some BS right now and say that that's a Foxhole world exclusive. Really.
Well, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Sounds like a Bethesda move to me.
No, we all know. We all know top-fed mags are clearly superior.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, no, I'd love to see some top-fed mags.
All hail the Bren.
Cool. And then,
Storm Rifle originally was, and for the same reason as to why we thought we wanted players to be able to see it. It went
Bren
to
gun
the side.
when Bren gun.
Oh, that would have been so cool to have top-fed Storm Rifle.
Technically, anything that has the cartridge on the side is a Bren gun at heart.
Oh god.
At heart.
There's a solution. You just rotate the storm rifle 90 degrees and fire it sideways like a game.
Yeah.
You mean gangster style, and you raise up the arm to catch the bullets.
Yes.
Yep.
Alrighty, that's
no,
all
can't
I
waste
had.
the casings. Gotta catch them.
Ah, no.
Oh god.
Guess what a brass catcher's for, man? He's like, catch the casings. That's what a brass catcher's for.
Yeah. The I can't. I'm blanking here. There was one last thing that I wanted to ask about that just came into my head. I feel like it had to do. Yes.
Not that
the Colonial HMG, or sorry, the Colonial MG, the new one with the box clip, that was decided on so that we could hopefully do a full like belt-fed clip on the 8-tripod HMG. It's still up in the air if we can do that, but I wanted to kind of make the two. I wanted to give the cool factor to the tripod HMG, and to kind of keep a.
Did I just hear HMGs as in faction specific HMGs?
I believe I mentioned that.
I hadn't heard that yet. No, I was actually going to ask. Yeah, the MGs that we have now, I'd love to see like faction specific HMG variants that
I
are
think
like.
It's safe to say everything is going to be faction specific, and that the traditional weapons that we've had for so long, you're not going to see them again. They're going to be, or at least see them again universally. Everything is faction specific now, or at least is planning to be. Is that correct to say?
Everything is planning to be faction specific. There will be certain guns with faction variants, but the faction variants will have their, like the current in-game MG, or in the dev branch, the two MGs have effectively different stats, like different ammo, different damage. But so there will be cases where one faction will get a gun that the other faction doesn't get. But it's a mixed bag. I can't sum it up quicker than that. Certain guns will have faction variants, and certain guns will be faction specific.
Oh man!
All right.
I just gotta say, I love all of the concept art that you do. Art book. Give us an art book.
I have said, anyone who's ever asked for an art book, I've said, let me get to 1.0 first. That way I can, it's like I need a complete...
You didn't say no.
I need a complete set of...
Yes, that's not a no, Liquid.
There's excitement from the devs about an art book. But again, I don't want to release it and then just not include like the final 1.0 shit.
Well, it's like the only reason I love the idea of an art book is because, I like creating like different models for like what could be just out of the assets that are already in the game.
I am less of a gamer. As I get older, I'm less of a gamer and more of an art book collector. I have more art books than I do games at this point.
Wait, are you one of the people who, like, when you see a special edition or collector's edition, you're like, yeah, sure, game, whatever, but the collector's stuff?
Yep. Well, no, I don't collect all the, like, trinkets and action figures.
But art books.
But like the art books and like the music
Posters.
Tracks and stuff that they have with them.
Yep. I'll go out of my way to collect any art book that I like.
All right.
Nice.
I think
I don't want to take up any more of you guys' time because there's a lot of people in the queue.
That's a question there then, Julian. What art books do you have?
2 or 3 bookshelves worth.
That's a good. Hey, we'll end on favorites.
All of
I do think Gage has a question that Liquid kept on interrupting.
Oh, sorry.
All right, big group. We'll end on this. Very last one.
I don't remember.
Oh no.
Come up with one. Come up with one. You got the
come up
floor.
with one.
Hurry, bro. God.
Do you have
Damn.
anything interesting for some like 8-wheeled vehicles like the Pumas or the the Bulldog? What was it called? The Bulldog, the American wheeled armored
Greyhound.
vehicle thing. The Greyhound. Greyhound.
Like
I have
big
a-
armored
Greyhound
car.
is 6.
I have a
Like
pet
large
Greyhound.
multi-wheeled.
Um,
Nothing interesting. Large multi-wheeled vehicles like that, like more than 4 wheels.
They are being considered, but I can't say anything right now. Like it,
Do
it
you
is-
like
go.
the idea of them?
it is
I
in
guess
the
is a
realm
better
of
question.
possibility. I like them, and I would put them in game as fast as I could if the modelers and everyone kept up. It would already in the game.
Yeah,
That
keep up,
means yeah,
devs.
folks.
Come on, keep
That
up with
means
Julian.
yeah.
All right, hey, gentlemen, thank you so much. So glad to see the 128th will be coming back. Let's hope for a long time because seeing those shells flying is always a treat. Usually at our
Let's hope for
reporters,
those
that's
reporters
fun.
to be out on the
Oh,
field.
Yeah,
watch
I was
out,
gonna
PressCorps.
You might be having more reporters retiring early.
Talk to Liquid.
All
All right,
right.
gentlemen, thanks so much.
Thanks.
All right. Coming up next, we have from the 503rd, Mr. Goombo with questions about vehicles.
Hey,
So, alright, I'm just gonna fly by this. I have sniffles right now because I was outside snowballing my driveway, so
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I have sniffles, but
Just wear a
I just
mask and
got-
it won't go over the internet.
so I just gotta ask, how did you design the new Colonial medium tank? Because that tank looked interesting to me. It's I saw a German tank, German turret in there, and the Crusader body. So how did you design that?
It started from a picture of the elephant tank. I really liked the kind of weight distribution that thing had on it. I know that that's a tank destroyer, and the top half isn't really applicable, but I just really like the wheel set that it had on it. Then I fleshed out I tried to take angles off of the off of the Colonial light tank for the hood area. I don't know what to call it, the front of the tank, as well as the main body of the chassis. I was trying to reference the battle tank, as well as trying to thin out the battle tank. I wanted to change the exhaust on it. I was obviously taking reference from KV-1 tanks and the T-34s, because that's the kind of tank that we wanted it to be. There was also at one point the Valentine, the useless Valentine tank. It just had some cool, very colonial looking shapes going on that actually ended up getting rejected in this iteration. But to sum this up, this tank has had 12 to 15 different turrets designed for, 12 to 15 different concepts I went through that at various points were liked or disliked. We blocked some of them in to check them out. And Mark settled on the one that he liked best for the mass production model. And obviously in the dev blog I said I can't show off a bunch because they're still up for consideration for future tanks. But it was a very long process, basically. There was discussion, there was playing, messing around with it, untextured in engine. Lots of back and forth between the devs.
Alright, also, with the new artillery coming out, I'm gonna post an image in general that I found. I was looking through a concept art of things. I'm uploaded, but a relic artillery piece from that's World War One-ish. Did you guys consider that, or?
Mark has been interested in doing relic artillery piece since the very beginning of the project. I don't exactly know, or I never questioned him on why. He's just always loved that really old looking World War One relic stuff, and he wanted to find a way to fit that in. Obviously, it hasn't made it into the game yet. There's a few questions as to something like that would require more custom animations. As you can tell in game, we tried to reuse the push cart style animation that I know everybody loves for the artillery, or for the field artillery, as well as like the FMG and stuff. So like something like that it's huge. First off, so we need to decide if we would devote time to getting custom animations just for the one gun, if we can make more guns out of it, like use the carriage to make more weapons, which obviously I think we could. It would be exciting. It all comes down to Mark saying, do it.
All right. Yeah, that was really it. So, you have a nice night. I'm gonna head out.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Great.
Thanks for stopping by. Okay, that's good because I forgot to start the timer. But anyway, coming up next, is Yeti here? If you don't idle, I can't bring you in.
Oh, missing your chance.
Yeah. While I'm looking for him, I just want to say about the weather system that a lot of people are saying like, oh my gosh, you can only be a minute away from. Oh, text only. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna read his questions. So text only.
Yep.
Are the developers happy with the current tech mechanics, like iron and aluminum, prototyping, how tech unlocks, etc.? Do they see the tech mechanics as successful and met their expectations? If so, or if not, then why?
I don't know.
Because you're not balanced. But what? So you do play the game. What do you think of? In tech. So don't be afraid if you're like, I don't know, I don't really get into that. Just like, what is your, like, when you see it, when you play the game, what do you think about tech? Just you personally.
Personally, I typically end up doing, like, when I jump in, it's typically early war, and I'm just scrapping and teching and whatnot. And I do it when I am, like, listening to a podcast, or listening to music that I want to listen to, or just kind of chilling out. And that's when I find I really like driving a truck around.
I'm the same way.
Tech as an upgrade, like the tech tree or teching up and whatnot, I don't feel like I have enough input on that because it's not, like, I'm literally not in those meetings when we have meetings. So I can say, I love it, and I don't feel like I have the backing to, like, I don't have the experience with it myself. So I feel bad. This is a question I feel bad that I can't answer.
We knew that was going to happen. That's fine. We've covered that earlier. If you're just jumping to this timestamp at the beginning of the show, said Julian, he just straight up doesn't know that much about, because that's not his realm. That's not necessarily his job, but that's okay. I know like, again, my opinion doesn't matter, but, yeah, teching, it had its frustrations, and I know, like, I think 2 episodes ago of Zero Dark, I almost was like running to the conclusion that, like, do we even need, like, can we just unlock everything at once? Because, like, how ridiculous is it that literally every war you have to, like, research the same things over and over again? Haha joke about bayonets. Why do we have to tech bayonets? And, that's absolutely a great point. But, like, why do we even have to tech, like, a battle tank again? When those do come back. If these wars are truly, like, interconnected wars, which I would think would be part of the spirit of the game, and maybe it's not, I don't know. But, like, why would we need to research that again, right? That's at no point does an army. I know this is kind of a grim, dark world, and this is kind of, the atmosphere is very, like, where just life is truly meaningless. That's just kind of the really ridiculous nature of it. Kind of like Warhammer 40K kind of asks, like, life is meaningless, war. But even then, like, I don't know if you would necessarily start over, right? You would at least be stagnant.
If that is if it is a continuous war, truly, and these are like skirmishes within the bigger war, then yeah. But I legitimately just feel bad because I can't answer the question.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, and obviously when I say everything at the start, I'm not literally saying battle tanks. Like, that's easily done. Like, maybe battle tanks should literally cost like 20,000 armats, but then it gets cheaper as you get to the, like, day 400 when it would actually. I don't know the numbers. I'm just positing it out there. Just trying macro, going like, how ridiculous is it that we have to tech everything again? Like, researchers are doing this. I don't know. that Yeti is saying that's fine. Hoping he can answer, but that's just the way it is with our guests, rotating guests. I know we hope to get more dev guests on, rotate around, spread the love around. But I know you gentlemen are busy. Julian, I know you have. I think is this dev stream going to be your dev stream kind of coming up?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I don't. Or the last dev stream I was on, I learned 5 minutes before, and the reason why I was on it was because they needed to do a live demo, and they needed my help. They needed like the extra body in the live demo, so I couldn't be on the lag that everyone else was watching it. So I just had to be in there, and then the live demo ended up being like 124 pixel, like by 10, like no one saw it anyways. So, but yeah, so I have not been talked to yet about being on the next dev stream. And I've like listening to you guys, listening to PressCorps before. I've been like, maybe I should go on it in the past, and then I've literally came to this like, do I have the substantive answers that they actually want?
That's
like,
fine. It's fine. Yeah. No, don't worry about it. And like honestly, like people are asking questions that I don't think they would have asked with Mark and Max.
So it's good to shake things up.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna move on. I hope I provided some sort of discussion. Again, those are completely my own opinions. And like literally, I don't know if maybe Mark's shaking his head like, shut the hell up. I don't know what you're talking about. But anyways, moving on here. Bubbadeej, right?
Hey,
Bubbadeej, welcome to Zero Dark. What do you have for us here?
Yeah. Julian, you probably know I'm a big fan.
Hey.
I've been lurking around here for a while.
Me too.
Anyways, I was really interested, and I was wondering what parts of Foxhole's universe more interesting for you to like shape and create.
Stuff that I like creating. Let's see. Obviously, just for the fun factor, weapons and vehicles and whatnot. Although you guys haven't seen it or you've seen little bits and pieces, I've been having fun doing like with uniform stuff. Uniform stuff has been sitting in the wings forever. And it has gotten interceded by again, big shit like weather and bridges and whatnot. Bridges were particularly boring to work on, but that's a different story altogether. But uniforms are fun. Character stuff is fun. Tanks are basically characters in the game. Firearms and whatnot. The way I work, or the influence I have with lore. Obviously, Matt's the lore guy, and I will influence it by doing what I do by saying, like, here's this tank, here's a thought I had about the tank, like this idea of this new mass-produced tank. I didn't choose that it would be mass-produced, but once I knew it would be mass-produced, I talked with Matt about, like, wouldn't it be cool if a different region made this tank? And that's why we haven't seen it before. Wouldn't it be cool if the chassis was the successful part of their tank, and that it was like the turret ring was designed to be adaptable, or not adaptable, just easy to mount stuff on top of. And like, this is the kind of where I feed into Matt, and then Matt's like, oh yeah, that's cool, or oh no, that's a terrible idea, what the hell, like, get away from me.
Get away from me.
Yeah, we go back, even though we're online, we go back and forth with that. And same with uniform, same with whatever kind of lore stuff, same with some firearms that you guys haven't seen yet. So yeah, that's really my influence on lore and creativity.
Yeah, I've been loving those winter uniform teasers you put out.
That again, there was a technical issue or a technical gameplay decision as to why uniforms remain in the promo art, or why the winter coats remain in the promo art alone. That I feel like I could explain it real easy, but I'm not allowed to right now.
Sick. Anyways, continuing. I had one more interest. I was wondering, like, what process do you have for when you're developing your tank designs? Because I know you do a ton of tank designs for each one that's successfully implemented into the. And I was wondering, like, because I know you work with Matt to some degree to decide what the tank's gonna. But a lot of it's on you to decide what the tank looks like, and that in turn affects its function. So, like, what's your process too?
A lot of what happens is that me, Mark, Max, and whoever else is around at the time, we came up with our big kind of master list of what we want each faction to have, in terms like in whatever category, guns or tanks or whatever. But for tanks, and that will typically dictate like a starting point of, okay, we know this gun has this. Is it a turret or is it hull mounted? Is it will it have additional like small arms or extra turrets or whatever? And then I will start drawing. Typically, Mark or Max or whoever might have, like if they pitch the vehicle, then they're clearly thinking of a tank in their head. Usually a real, like something real, because that's a point of reference. So I'll start from there, or if I don't, I will just kind of pick whatever the hell I think looks cool. And it's literally just drawing. It's just like I'll draw something. Typically the first thing you draw, the first variant, you think is great. You're like, oh man, I knocked it out of the park. I got exactly what I want. But you have to keep going, and then you do like 3 of them, and by the 3rd one, you get into this mindset where you're like, this is also great. Now I'm not sure about the first one that I really liked. And then eventually you hit a point where you're like, someone else has to choose, and that's Mark.
Yeah, I've heard that deadlines and having someone like say you have to stop here is critical for artists in the visual field, because it's like they'll literally just try to make things better for eternity if they don't have that.
Just keep going.
There's also something to say of if Mark chooses the tank that he likes best, then it's out of my hands. When I don't have to think and I don't have to care anymore, and Mark gets what he wants. And so long as, say there's like 5 options. If I work hard and design 5 tanks that I like each one of for differing reasons, then I don't care which one. Like I'm happy with whatever Mark chooses, and then Mark's happy. And then sometimes someone else will be like, actually, I kind of like this one, and then a discussion will happen. But the point is, like, if all options are good, then everybody wins, kind of thing. And that's what I shoot for. And it's kind of that, just keep working, throw out the stuff I think shit and not worth showing, and then show the options I think are worth showing.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just the last thing is like, do you have any favorite drawing you've done for any like vehicle or setting or something?
In terms of vehicles, right now, I think I really like the development work that I did on the Silverhand. I know
I love that thing. It's beautiful.
It worked. Like, it was easy to do, even though it's complex. I was just like, this is working exactly how I want it to work. And again, there was 3 versions of that done, and I liked all of them. So it was for some reason, I really still like the Warden light tank, because it fulfills Mark wanted the Warden tank's kind of aesthetic to look pompous. Like the tank looks like it's better. It thinks it's better than you in a kind of like stupid, almost Victorian way. In that like snooty, like the Wardens put art into their vehicle over possibly well-designed frontal armor. Because like I know what good frontal armor looks like, but I also know what like pomp and kind of being
there's character.
Too big. Yeah.
There's character behind every design. That's what that
and
is.
And that the light tank has just kind of, the Warden light tank has stood the test of time where I look at it and I'm still like, I got it right. Like, I got the outline of it being pompous correct.
I remember someone mentioning this to me because there's a lot of artists in the press corps. I forget who mentioned it, but like, flaw is character. So if something looks off, that can kind of be a character in and of itself. Maybe not the intended one necessarily, but it can say something. Every little bit.
Look at that recon tank, man. That is a flawed design.
That's actually, like, I've said it before on dev streams that stuff like a Tiger tank, it's a obvious, well-designed tank that obviously like the armor is perfectly designed for the era and whatnot. But if everything was like that, I think the game would be boring. Like, I think we need the ugly little teapot is more entertaining to me than everything being a super hunter-killer machine.
Well, thank you so much. I will enjoy seeing what you do in the future.
Bubbadeej, did I say that right? Bubbadeej?
I go by Bubbadeej.
Bubbadeej, thank you. That's better. Bubbadeej. Bubbadeej. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
All right. Teef, the man with the teeth. Welcome back. The Sir Regiment. Welcome back. Sorry, I know I drag people. Like really just take them out of the
not be on or something. Yeah. Hey.
It's all right. All good. All good. What do you got for us here?
Give me 1 second while I mute the Twitch stream because I can hear echo.
Yeah. Thank you for actually listening to the stream though, as the night goes on, as opposed to just memeing up there and asking like the same
queue, I can't stand being in there. I apologize to everyone in the call queue, but God, everyone just talks to each other. So I mute it and then listen to the Twitch stream and then wait my turn, basically. All right, so my question, the future of bunker bases. I've seen you done a bunch of art concept designs on what a bunker base could look like, what they were uses, like a radar dish, what's inside of it, etc. A lot of people have been wanting quality of life updates in regards to logistics. And I believe like bunker bases and having their own forms of logistics tied to their functionality can get strain off of distance traveled, especially when bunker bases take so much time to upgrade and build. I feel it would have more of a payoff if this bunker base can self-produce and help out the front more.
There's definitely interest in adding more functionality to bunker bases. The stuff like the concept art with radar dishes and whatnot. Actually, the other day, Adam was like, "Hey, is this still going in? Like, is this going in the game?" Like, he mentioned exactly what you just mentioned. And I can't really say more other than there's definitely interest. There's conversation about it. Right now, the arms race was obviously a big push to add in this like flood of vehicle things. This Winter Army update is obviously themed about getting weather in. I know Mark has an interest in. Mark has said it on dev streams many times that there's an interest in an intel kind of stuff. I know that includes, or not includes, but bunker-based stuff is definitely still on our radar. Let me just say that.
Because you can put like a cannon on it, put like a radar on it that can work like an observation tower, have like a logistics or like a factory center. You have a lot of room to play with when it comes to bunker bases because of previous implementations. Like if you go on Google right now, you can see like factories inside of these bunker bases, people living inside of bunkers, putting in the apartments and stuff.
No, we've got like what I want to do, because we had all the like you can upgrade this to look like however you want in your bunker with like beds or kitchen area or whatever. I think. And I've not talked with the rest of the devs, and this is just me thinking out loud, that I think it would be really cool to go back now that we have winter and cold and rain and wet to add functionality even in there. Like, and it could be as simple as warming up faster in certain bunker or stuff, or because like the added encumbrance with rain, maybe there's a way to like certain tile sets help the toilets. You can clean yourself off near the toilets, or we didn't add like one of those like impromptu shower things or something. And I don't necessarily think it would animate, or don't necessarily think it has to animate, just something that similar to the fire where you stand close to it to alleviate whatever status effect is hitting you, like shit like that. It's stuff I think we could do with assets we already have in the game, and it just needs to be re-looked at. And that's stuff that, like, that's my immediately, like, this could be cool kind of reaction.
People brought up arguments that towns will start slowly stop having less meaning if you have logistics tied to bunker bases. And I disagree with that with perma-damage now coming to the game. Heavy artillery.
That's another thing. Okay, I don't exactly know how perma-damage is going to shake down the world. And what I mean is, let's see 1 or 2 wars where you guys have full access to perma-damage and see what actually happens to the front lines and what actually happens to logistics. Because everyone can say they've screwed it up, logistics is going to be screwed. But
it might be.
It might be, but it might be one of the coolest wars you've ever fought. Like, it might be one of the most memorable. Like, when
it can
no
be both
one knows,
too.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, it could be both. But I think for me, this is personal. But like, the best time to play, say, like a Street Fighter game is when no one knows what they're doing. It's the most fun you have in the game.
Fighting games is when no one knows what the meta is. Even though when it comes to Street Fighter, you have Ryu, Ken being the bread and butter that they have been for years. Same controls where everyone else always has like different setups and schemes set up. Like I used to play Third Strike back in the day, and Dudley was my dude. Now I played the newer one, and Karen's my girl. I haven't touched Street Fighter in forever though. Like Alpha 2 and the newer Street Fighter with Karen, significantly different.
But what I'm getting at is not that the game should constantly be in a state where no one knows what they're doing. It's just like, let us get the information and data back from the first war where you can level a town, and then that might be like, maybe we should add bunker factory related stuff. Like maybe we need that, or maybe we don't.
The upcoming
If we're going to destroy factories and we're going to permanently hamper logistics, then we need to be able to make our own logistic bunker bases. That's just how it's going to have to be.
And to be 100% transparent right now, I don't currently know if the fate of logistics buildings in towns. I'm not part of that meeting.
I don't think for the sake of being able to come back, I don't think they're going to let you destroy factories, town halls off the bat once they introduce perma-damage. But like, if you're going to be an attacking team, you're getting abandoned ward, maybe using heavy artillery is going to be the best idea, because garrison houses are like the only viable way to protect abandoned ward right now.
And for me, the inclusion of perma-damage and the kind of class of heavy artillery, that by Mark kind of pushing forward with that and wanting it in the game, as a concept artist, from my perspective, that basically opens a whole new world of tools that I didn't know I could use before. Like, in the future, because we hinted at it in the dev stream, when we do like mobile artillery. Now I have 2 classes of mobile artillery I can like inspired by. We can do heavy, like light artillery, heavy artillery, whatever. I don't know. It's all technical additions to the game, like whether like permanent damage makes it more fun for me to concept stuff.
We are at time, but if you wanted to wrap up,
we need ammo trucks. If Colonials are going to have FAs as their light artillery, and then Wardens have howitzers as their light artillery, we're going to definitely need trucks designed to move explosives, and unfortunately, that might mean stacking explosives again.
So you're saying something?
Actually,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say we were discussing that today. I can't say like it was the preliminary discuss, but yeah, we're talking about ammo trucks and like moving stuff like that. We were talking about it today.
Awesome. All right, thanks.
Yeah, no, thank you for stopping by. Good questions. All right. I think it's safe to say with just how big this update is in terms of its mechanics, like wide-ranging mechanics, is it safe to say this could potentially be one of the messiest wars we've seen in a long time? Are the devs bracing for that?
Yes, very much so.
Okay, and we'll see what happens. But hey, Kalmoire, welcome back to Zero Dark PressCorps.
I know what type of questions I'm getting.
I'm an avid fan, Julian, of your work.
Thanks.
And both the practical applications of it in games. So, today I came here to discuss a bit of the design direction that the future Foxhole equipment might go into. Because, especially with small arms now, I see that Colonials seem to be kind of... Because from what previously I've read about, the premise of Foxhole is, at least for the early equipment, is that it begins in the interwar era.
Yes. Or
as its design inspiration.
Not. It's designed to look it. It's inspired by it.
Exactly.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
But then again, does late game equipment also apply to this design schematic?
Yes and no. An area where I can give an example is like battle tanks still have like bolts and rivets on them, even though they're like clearly late war. Well, at least the Colonial stuff is late war looking, but it's intentional, like not cast.
Yeah, I've noticed that Colonials seem to be a bit more like streamlined and modern compared to like Wardens, which are more archaic.
That was a design choice based off of when I first started working on Foxhole. Mark pretty much said that they wanted the art to look World War II plus or minus 10%, and he meant I know at the time he meant. Or now I know he meant World War I or World War II stuff, but plus or minus 10% into the like not real life world, the strange real world. And at the beginning, I was drawing like the very beginning, I was drawing some almost sci-fi stuff, and I do have drawings of sci-fi wardens and sci-fi.
Oh yeah, like
Colonials.
the mood concepts.
Yeah. No. Like they were like, before we did any character stuff, before we had a vision, I was like, what if they had this? What if the weird thing about Foxhole was that they had this technology, like insert X technology here? And I did a couple of concepts that Mark and Matt were like, dude, you've got to stop. Like, we don't want this kind of sci-fi stuff in the game. We just want, and like we narrowed it down to this kind of plus or minus 10% real world thing, with Mark specifically wanting Colonials to look closer to World War II than Wardens did, and that was for kind of a first impression of the game from like someone who knows nothing about it. They see a screenshot and their immediate read should be it's a World War II era game. It's not steampunk, it's not frostpunk, it's not cyberpunk. And then once they click on, like on Steam, once you click on it, you see a bunch of screenshots, you see what people are posting about it, you learn that it's this like other world. It's not real World War II. And that was kind of that's the direction we've gone. That was the initial direction of the game.
Now, I'm just wondering about two more things. That is, does this apply to also more practical terms of the vehicles, for example, and weapons? Or will we see, for example, Colonials using some like older themed equipment, like multi-turret tanks, for example? Not concretely asking for these, just is this a possibility for the Colonial theme to allow?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, it is.
That should answer it. And the last point is a bit more direct about the winter update and a vehicle which might actually fit the theme very totally, which you might have seen circling as a joke around FOD, which is, do you know what an aero sled is?
Yes, I do.
Yes, and yeah, I guess that should answer that. Will we possibly see something akin to that?
There is a major problem with it. It's not entirely out of the books, but what do you do on maps that don't have snow? Like, how do we make it? If assuming the tech tree is the tech tree as it is now, then that's a vehicle that's only applicable if there is snow happening, and that's a problem. Yes. Yeah, that's a problem we've run into with a few ideas. But that's a very easy one to visualize. Like if you're just driving along a dirt road or driving through like farm field or something, it'd be funny, and then you'd feel like it'd be funny for 5 minutes, and it would be weird.
Then it would just feel restricting afterwards.
Yeah,
I suppose maybe if it were to allow like an exchangeable suspension, But that's a bit of a further thought.
That something like that. It was about implementation at that point of like how do you do it. We currently don't have kind of on the fly swapping of elements of a vehicle, like other than ammo, but that's something totally different. Like you couldn't like press F to put wheels on the thing and then press F to put like the skis back on it.
Yeah, I suppose that's mainly it. And other than that, I hope to see someday some multi-turrets in the game and long rifles too, like early war rifles. That would be very fun. So
I'd love
it.
it. I'd love to see what the Giselle, or I forget the name of those really
Giselle?
old long rifles.
Yeah.
Anyways, long rifles are very cool. Yes.
So that's all I did. Thank you.
Thank you for stopping by. Good questions. All right, just a little extra time here in that call, but I just want to say rip to the 82 DK gentlemen who have been pining on the No Man's Land Live podcast. Love that podcast, No Man's Land Live. Check them out on Twitch as well. They've been saying, like, please just put the mechs in the actual game. Don't make that a one-off thing. Put it in the damn game. And they've been praying to the gods, but I guess praying to Callahan that it's just not going to happen.
The best I could see it happening is having more event wars throughout a year.
But in terms of the actual, the mainline game, that is off the table.
It's for Mark. Yeah, he doesn't want that. No, the steampunk element. It's just not
steampunk. Diesel punk too, because I think
Diesel
punk is more World War II. Steampunk, I think if I read correctly, steampunk is more late 1800s, turn of the century, Industrial Revolution. Diesel punk is World War II, like Crimson Skies kind of thing, right?
Yep, I just mixed up the words.
No, that's fine.
But for the main line game, I don't think there's going to be mechs.
Gotcha.
And again, like I said, the best thing, something that I've pitched is that now that we have like faction mechs, kind of break it apart from Dead Harvest. They be in Dead Harvest, but also break them out and have like more times a year, just have fun wars to kind of break up the pace of stuff.
For sure. All right, coming up next here, I have no idea how to say that name. It's Marcus.
It's Johannsen.
Oh my gosh. I forgot I had you up. Sorry about that.
It's runes.
Runes.
So, yeah.
All right.
So I want today just to come up with an idea for the game.
Okay.
It's about trains and map expansion. They go hand in hand. It's just an idea. So I know Valley exists south of the current playable area. So it'd be very cool if you added that area to the map, added that area to the playable area, where instead of the Wardens always being pushed in their homeland, the Colonials can also be pushed into there, and with plus more lore, which is always nice. And with trains, you can implement trains that way for better far-reach logistics. And you know how in World War II on the Eastern Front, that the Soviets and Germans have different rail gauges, like different thickness of the track?
Yep.
So you could, in theory, have one side have thicker rail gauge than the other, so you have to convert as you move along, so you can't just speed up, and move too quickly, basically keeping the war going for a long time while still having trains and far logistics.
It's a good idea for having when theoretical two train tracks meet that are of different factions, that they're not compatible, like that. Not initially compatible, and the idea of having to convert, it's pretty cool. New Vehicle 2020, as they're known around here. It's all I'm working, I will say that.
I just want to say I love the artwork. It's beautiful.
Thanks a lot.
It's my favorite, to be honest, of all the artwork I've seen.
Thank you. But yeah, New Vehicle 2020 is definitely being worked on, and I know with the map expansion stuff, that's a time. That's like Matt, who does all the map stuff, would need a hell of a lot of time for map expansion stuff.
Well,
so
we already have references in the very old map. You know,
yeah, there's definitely more map. Yeah, there's like obviously on the world map you can see the existing.
Now I'm
areas.
talking about you know that extremely old map of Foxhole.
Yep.
That's ancient. That's my favorite map, to be honest. It's beautiful.
I think you have to thank Matt for that one because I think
but still, it's still nice.
The art, like the art, he did the art for that. So.
Yeah, it's still lovely to see.
I think it's still it's supposed to be an old map that might not be 100% accurate in terms of like modern or at least World War II like mapping technology. He wanted it to be thematic instead of 100, like an old globe isn't 100% accurate kind of thing.
But still, it looks far off from the current map we have.
Totally.
There's also another thing I've noticed. So south of Westgate, right, there is some small names just south of the map that were in the old map before they changed. I think that's quite funny. So, yeah. But I just want to come with that proposal, and there
are some good ideas in that proposal.
Yes, and I get BT7 vibes from the medium tank, like the mass production tank.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, that's all I wanted to say, and have a nice day, and I really like your work.
Thanks a lot. You too.
All right, a little extra time on that one. Just wanted to say, if you're just joining us, we got plenty of show left. I think we're doing well. I think we're keeping good pace. Multiple aspects to that, but it's looking good. Just wanted to say that Julian, if you're just joining us, Julian is Clapfoot's / Foxhole's concept artist. Is it lead or only concept artist?
Only, but I also go by lead because it sounds more important.
Absolutely. No, that's good. Lead concept artist. He does not necessarily do anything involving balance, game balance. So it's like, should this gun have 50% more piercing? That's not his realm, right?
My expanse into that is like you can see it in the some art where I'll write notes that's like maybe this gun has 15 bullets in it with a question mark next to it.
Okay.
And that's nothing. That's like before anyone's thought of it or suggested anything. That's just me writing notes so that Mark might see it later on. But it's in no way balancing.
It's funny because like there's like a cool parent and then like a strict parent relationship kind of between you and Mark and maybe whoever else. Like you just do all the cool things and it's like, oh yeah, sure, you get the ice cream, yeah, sure, go up for 3 hours.
Me and Mark joke about that all the time. How everybody likes me because I don't have to give serious answer. Like I don't have to give the answer.
You don't have to say no. You don't
like.
That's not your job.
Exactly. But the thing is, it's there. I believe there is a kind of there's an effect where I haven't been on the show on the dev streams a lot, and this is my first time here. That the more time you spend with dev, eventually they're going to say something that the community doesn't like or like doesn't want to hear, or doesn't like, or doesn't whatever. And I feel like Max not specifically Max, but the job of community manager takes the brunt of that. It's like. No matter what game, no matter what universe you're in, eventually a community manager has to say something that will start a snowball of people not liking the community manager, and it's like
that's his job.
It's an oil spill where it's a matter of when it's going to happen.
People have messaged
me.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go finish.
Right now, I get this. I'm in the sweet spot of I get to say things that people like. So.
People have messaged me saying, like, why aren't you the community manager? You have no idea how off base and like I thank you, I guess, for the compliment, but like that I run a rinky-dink little podcast / LARPing group, and I can do that whenever I want. Like Max's job is literally like taking everyone's shit for like that's his job, 8 hours a day plus more because the internet is forever. But anyway, sorry. So I think I think we've run out of time on that. But regardless, and not to say he's completely perfect.
Max told me he'd be listening tonight to me, so I wanted to throw him under a bus there. So it's good.
We've all made mistakes, but regardless, that's that. So actually, we have a written question here. This is gonna be rapid fire, I believe. And again, answer what you can, or just say I don't know. From Sammy, 82DK. First, just want to know if tripod HMGs will come this update.
I believe, within the kind of cycle update, like how Arms Race was Arms Race for a whole bunch of small updates as well. I don't believe it's coming straight away.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Planned, maybe, if, yeah.
Yes, 100% yes, they're going in the game. And I wish they were already in the game so I could tell you some funny stories about it. Like I could spin a yarn about why they haven't shown up yet. But I can't right now. But they are coming.
2, will the Warden HMG have ballistic shield design like on the Mounted Bonesaw?
Possibly. Yeah, the Bonesaw is the basic Piot looking thing, and it's got sorry, there's a tripod version of it, and the tripod has a small.
Yes. Is that the really short one?
Yep. No. That's anyways, I know what he's talking about.
Gotcha.
It might. There's sketches, but I don't actually think that small shield does anything on the model. Like it's not It's not like the push cart weapons. It's not an actual functioning shield.
Okay. If anything, it would be aesthetic.
Yeah, it's a tiny, small aesthetic shield.
Gotcha. But something to think about. Maybe if you can, whoever's programming that's your nightmare. But last one, will we see the burst pistol, the Warden burst pistol, this update?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Confirmed.
I believe Adam finished the model and texture and stuff either today or yesterday. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. And that one was just driving home the Germanic, Franco-German inspiration for the Wardens.
Yep. And as well as we needed a pistol that looked different than the pistol we already had in the game.
Yeah, for sure. Franco-Germanic, kind of British too. But yeah, all right. Quick questions from Sammy. Thank you so much for submitting those. And just a reminder to everyone, if you can't make it, just pop it in the call queue question. I'll do my best to represent it. Those were pretty quick questions. Nothing really philosophical there, but thanks for typing it in. So coming up next is Raid's Mostly Frags. Welcome to Zero Dark PressCorps. He is unmuting himself. There we go. Welcome back to Zero Dark PressCorps. What do you got for us here?
Oh, hi. I'm quite a big the tank yet, but it's not been teched like at all. Have we got any hope we're going to see vehicles that don't really see getting teched turning up a bit more with changes or to the tree or putting them as an auto tech or something?
There is much discussion that I feel bad because I have to say I can't say it here, but there's much discussion about vehicles that aren't teched as much as others. At this point, there's a whole swath of kind of ideas being tossed around about what to do with them and what, like, going forward, and kind of how to make them more relevant.
Internally in the team.
Internally,
yeah. Because like the Colonial APC, I think it's been teched since the update started, which is a bit of a shame because that used to be a raid favorite.
Sorry, I don't want to waste time just thinking. You're good. Sorry, I'm fumbling over one. We are, or from my perspective, all the old, well, I'll call it old stuff, all the old stuff like armored cars and whatnot are still being considered by me, for my part, for doing variants and alterations and whatnot. We think, or I think, in terms of it being just a chassis that we can toss variants or different guns on top of. So nothing has kind of left our attention in those terms, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have you got any ideas for variants of the tank yet? Because I really like it. I just don't see it ever.
I literally finished a set of variants for it today. Like, I literally did a whole page of concepts for it today. That was my task.
That's excellent. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, that was it. Can you fix the southern bridge in AW? I ask every single dev branch, and it never gets done.
What's going on with the bridge?
How do you mean fix it?
You can't climb the damn thing when it's destroyed, and it's been like that for like a year now.
No, but, sorry, I personally was I'm unaware of that level of stuff. So
Not his
I'll
realm.
mention. Yeah, I'll mention it to other people. I'll tell Matt to fix it. If he listens to me, that's a different story.
Hell yeah! Thanks very much. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Mostly, thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it. All right, Torrento coming back right at you. Welcome to Zero Dark as always. We missed you for a couple of shows, but I'm glad you're back.
I'm glad I'm back here too. Hey, hey Julian, what's up? First time here.
Like I said, I had feared in the past that I literally didn't have substantive answers to give you guys.
No, you're doing just fine.
Nah, Julian, we're glad that you're even here, man.
Thanks.
It's always good to talk to a dev, even if he's just a concept art maker. Anyways.
Just a concept.
You didn't hear anything, okay? So, like, Julian.
Yep.
I would guess like this new update following the arms race, like you got like a ton of work. Like I bet you have had fun with designing all the new guns, the new vehicles, like even having the opportunity to make that fucking ugly teapot tank.
Hey, teapot's amazing. Yeah, no, it's been a hell of a lot of fun.
So like, but Julian, do you also make like just personal art from for Foxhole that for like things that you think are cool, but like you don't really think that are going to make to the game, or really unlikely? Like I don't know, giant ass tanks, for example.
So you mean Foxhole art that is not necessarily being planned right now?
Yeah, just really concept, like not even shipped to market.
Yes, is the short answer.
I don't think we would not be allowed to see that though. That's like
it'll be, if I can, it'll be in a future art book. It'll be the stuff you wish was in the game section.
But like things that we wish were in the game are like always the coolest thing. Like I don't know, if a giant ass tank that has 4 turrets, for example.
I have a public concept of a gigantic tank that has like 4 ridiculous shotguns on the front of it. I've posted that in the dev blog way back before, and people always post it all the time in the FOD, just asking like, when are we going to see this? And even Max bugs me all the time about it too. He wants it.
I mean, it's cool, right? Like, who doesn't want to use a 4 turret tank?
At the beginning of the project, when I was told to just do art, there was a time when we didn't know anything really about the world, and they were like, just make some art. One thing that Matt proposed was that the world was normal, and what I mean is like there were forest, rivers, like farm fields and whatnot. But
so
there
no
would be
elves or gnomes.
Yeah, it's not a fantasy thing. I just mean like there wasn't like, it wasn't a world that there were a giant meteor hit the middle and the whole it's not like a Final Fantasy kind of big crystal meteor thing. Anyways, the unique thing about the world, this was just an idea that he pitched like 4 years ago, was that there were giant like corroded old gigantic tanks like scattered throughout the world, and that's when I did that art of like a couple pieces of art that just had ridiculously large dead tanks in them, and some stuff you guys haven't seen, some stuff you have seen, and this was like at the beginning we didn't know what Foxhole was, but they just wanted something, and I did a bunch of serious like World War II themed stuff that didn't have giant ridiculous tanks in it. But like we explored everything, and for fun, I can or can't say that I fleshed some of those ideas out into like full production quality art, like the tank drawings that I do now. But that is stuff that I like doing for fun. Yes.
hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I'm expecting the form turret tank now, Mr. Julian. I love that tank. Okay, I'm winning the game. But
yeah, go ahead.
No, like I was also going to a more serious question would be like about the Warden and Colonial engineering. Like, right now, as you guys are releasing more faction-specific vehicles, and now are starting to enter the faction-specific guns, does the dev team already has a clear image of what the Wardens and Colonials are different from each other, and like how their engineering is made, like what are the inspirations and stuff like
to a like interior, how would a Warden make this specific engine versus how a Colonial would make this specific engine. We haven't gotten that far. We've gotten far enough that we have like grand ideas where the Wardens, their tanks look older because they are older, because at the time they were made, they were better than the Colonial equivalents. And it's kind of like they didn't replace what was working, and the Colonials did and adapted, and they have a more modern look to them. Like, that was a theme that we have going in the game. That's kind of why Warden stuff always looks closer to like interwar. Whether or not the actual physical design of it would be technically better is not really the point. So, like, on the dev blog, I did draw out what a Warden light tank engine looks like, just in a sketch. And I kept it super basic because I didn't want to break. We're not getting into that much detail in the game. I don't even think you'll ever see the engine open to the air of the Warden tank that I drew. It was literally a piece so that if needed, because the mortar tank, you can see down the hole of it, and we didn't know how much you'd be able to see. So in case you saw like a corner of an engine, we just wanted a basic shape that existed back there, so it looked like an engine. So that, the level of interior detail we're going in Foxhole. But thematically, we do have like the bigger ideas.
It kind of makes sense when you like you said, like when you look at the Warden vehicles, like they always have like this like they always look round, and like it looks like the Wardens take pride in how their tank looks, while the Colonials, they just make blocky tanks that just work. If it works, it gets shipped to the front line, something like that, right?
That was the with the relic vehicles. That was kind of the idea between the phalanx, the new Colonial relic, and the storm tank. I wanted the phalanx to be as literal basic as possible, like a barn on wheels. And there's toaster. There's obvious real life reference there, but like I just wanted it to feel like the thickest like metal that they had going at like it was the thickest they could produce at the time, and they just slapped the walls together and like rolled it into battle was the idea. And I've gotten enough messages from random people being like, this thing's ugly. So I feel like I've succeeded, because that was the point of that thing, compared to the storm tank, which had curves going on it and whatnot.
I mean, the storm tank has curves all in the right places, if you ask me. Looking kind of thick, if you ask. But yeah, like we enter like this topic of relics. Like, you also reminded me of like the Dead Harvest. How I bet you were involved in like designing the Centurion, and they unfortunately never used the doggo mech that I still want to be used.
It'll see its day. I couldn't call the pace of a war. Okay, it's not my realm. But the Colonial, the Warden mech was 100% me working with Matt. Sorry, I said Warden. The Warden mech is 100% me working with Matt to I pitched the idea that it was they strapped mech legs onto a storm tank like chassis, because that's what they had when they started making a mech. The Centurion is a really weird tale. I'll sum it up quick. I moved to Montreal. I used to live in Toronto. I live in Montreal now. The day before I moved, Mark said, hey, you can start the mech art. So I literally finished the Centurion in one day, and the art was so basic for it that Anthony, because he was modeling it, had a lot of input on like the armor plating, and he knew we wanted like thick, chunky Colonial armor, but he did a lot of detail stuff, and me and him spent a really long time going back and forth, and him sending me like screenshots and stuff, and me drawing in like red marker over top, and that thing took a while because I had like no time to prep for designing that mech. I love the way it turned out though.
Thick, chunky Colonial armor. That needs to be a buzzword. Please make that a meme. Someone do that in Foxhole Discord right now.
Big and chunky.
Chunky.
Thick, chunky.
I mean, I like to slap that metal ass any day, man.
All right. Did you have? I think we're at time, but did you have any closing things for us here, Toreno?
Yes. Julian, what would you what would be your advice for someone for an artist that wants to also draw concept art like you do?
That's a good question.
100% fundamental artwork. Like this goes for anything. It doesn't even have to be concept art. If you want to be better at drawing representative art, like art that looks like what you are drawing, say a chair, going through the process of art fundamentals and learning structure, perspective, and all that stuff, no matter what stage you're at in your career, because I do that. I have a sketchbook right next to me right now where I'm literally just drawing heads, but like those kind of like classic blocky looking like sculpture heads. I'm filled like front to back 50 pages, 10 drawings a page, trying to hit both sides of the paper, trying to hit 1,000 drawings in that
the
one
same
sketchbook.
head, or do you like variations?
No, different heads. Just like photos online and different heads and different rotations and whatnot. And the point is, it's like line mileage matters. Is putting in your like 10,000 drawings to do one good drawing. 10,000 bad drawings equals one good drawing kind of mentality. But it's kind of like if you don't know what to draw and you don't know how to get better, fundamentals. Redo it, restudy it. If you haven't done it yet, start there, because you'll be doing it for the rest of your life, and it only helps, and you only get better as you go on.
Nice.
That's a really good advice. And yeah, like, sorry, Jeff, I know you want to get rid of me,
No, you're
but
good.
like,
No.
just a finishing touch. Like, Julie, you were talking about heads. Like, do you take photos of yourself or like the other dev team? Like, just I don't know, going with your cell phone, take like different perspective shots from like Mark Foot, and even from like behind or under him, something like that.
What?
I don't ask for reference from my coworkers, and I rarely do I've done a few. Every artist does self-portrait. You kind of just have to get used to. If you want to draw a good head, draw your own head and get it right, because like you'll know if you fucked it up. Sorry, didn't mean to swear. But no, that's too invasive a thing to ask coworkers.
Your coworkers. The non-existent HR department is like, why, Julian, stop taking pictures. All right, Toronto, thank you so much for stopping by. I love your weird questions sometimes.
I also love the privilege to talk with the devs, especially Julian. Julian's my favorite, man. I'm also an artist. I'm going to take advice from the heart, man. Thank you for changing my life.
Good. I hope it works out.
I love it. All right, coming up next is Raid's Tancred. Say that right, Tancred?
Hell.
All right. Hey, what do you got for us here? You got a lot of. I'm sorry. Was this supposed to be a written question? I'm sorry.
I thought about not asking on live because it's late, but then I decided to get out of my bed and ask.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. You can talk, or you can have me ask the questions myself. It's up to you. Sorry.
I don't think Julian will be able to answer them, but I have one Julian-related question.
I'll do my best.
So, are we gonna see an infantry carrier in the glory of the old APC?
Do you mean the gigantic thing?
Not that. Like tanky infantry carrier as the old APC used to be.
If you I'm not 100% sure how to answer because the APC is obviously still in the game, but I don't think that's what you're getting at. If you're talking about like old kind of interwar era, those like giant Mark 9 British carriers.
I was referencing to how APC got changed in game. It became really squishy, and it's not really usable anything like than a boat. So anything like a carrier that can fit 5 or 6 friends in the back, you can go pew pew infantry.
Yeah, in the future, something like that seems. If they don't balance again, I'm not balancing stuff, but if they don't balance the APC to a point where it has a function, which I think they will, and by function I mean people want to choose it for some reason or another, which I think they will, but I don't think we'd see something like an armored fighting vehicle, like that's too modern, but something like there are many variants to come, and there are many variants of half-track planned. And half-track, I believe some people in the community want half-tracks to be reworked from the ground up. And I think in the future, we will take those considerations into respect when we're working on half-track variants.
I don't know how much you're invested into blueprint footprint, but they're kind of, after the trench warfare update, they kind of messed up a lot of stuff with sandbags. And if you look at my question, there's a picture of a really cool fort you can build, and it's kind of not possible right now.
Oh.
And why is that again?
Basically, if you place, in order to build this fort, you have to blueprint everything first, then dig it out and build it out. If you do it in any other order, you can't place it because a footprint of a building is actually bigger than a footprint of the same blueprint.
So the image that you have here cannot be done currently.
It can be done, but it takes like an hour to do it.
Oh.
Okay. Unfortunately, I can't speak to.
Yeah, I know.
That. I think I can address the fact that interconnectivity of like bunker elements, building elements, and sandbag elements is a concern. Like we obviously want to build the best set of tools for you guys to build whatever the hell you want on the battlefield. So if there's a problem like that and it's persistent, I do.
It's at this fort.
It might.
That's the thing.
Sorry. Go ahead.
It's really fun to fight at these no AI forts. How do you call them? So another question, I vaguely remember like a couple of months ago, one of the devs was into medical stuff, wanted input about that. So kind of did a little of my own research and found out that the easiest way to make it more usable is to just move it earlier in the tree.
Please. I've been harping on this for so many months now. Why on earth do we have to tech a bandage? Or I don't even know if that's in the texture. I just know that it's ridiculous. Like why an ambulance? Just literally, just a cross, slap it on a truck. That's your ambulance. Why do you have to tech that? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Does nothing but encourage people to just throw themselves into the front line with reckless abandon. So you kind of the lack of medical supplies and the lack of those tools kind of discourages smart tactical gameplay or even just thinking twice, which kind of goes against the spirit of the game. So yeah, I'm very much with it. I don't know if Julian can answer, but I share your sentiments.
If again, that it's something I can't answer.
Yeah.
Other than say, if Mark's listening, then you'd better do something about it, Mark.
Real quick, let me just say that the devs, people think that the devs are either just have the fingers to their ears. They hear and see everything. Just because maybe they necessarily don't address it outright, or maybe if it seems like they don't know what they're talking about. I mean, yeah, there's always a degree of that'll happen, but I'm pretty confident by now, like things like the fact that medical supplies are not earlier in the tech tree, things about logistics, quality of life, they've heard it all, but we are not in those internal conversations. So, I don't know.
I think I can also say, though, that currently, literally, because we're in like rolling out this massive that the like position of a specific thing on the tech tree, like medical equipment, it's kind of gone under the radar, but it will resurface literally once they're working like all the frigging time trying to make sure that everything's working to get the update out, right? So to make sure that I spent a while with them going over and firing, going through all the artillery stuff today. I helped test out literally because they needed more bodies in the test server to test. And it's not like the information was over my head, but I was literally just there helping firing cannons because they needed me there. So the attention is all currently with these weeks is distracted from, say, medical equipment, but the medical equipment stuff, I guarantee you've been heard.
It feels like it's something that can be really fun to do and really effective to do, but now it's just like a minor gimmick that the later the war goes on, it becomes more useless than it's useful. I don't know how to explain.
No, that makes sense, but I don't currently have an answer, which I feel bad about.
Okay, only pray for like an APC type of vehicle that we can truck 5 people in the back and have fun.
Extraction.
Yeah.
I'd be all for it. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for getting out of bed. I'm sorry if you wanted those questions read by me, but thanks. Really appreciate it.
Have a good one. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Coming up next is the Swords of Morrow. I don't know if he's here, but we are approaching the end. What's his name? I'm going to ping him at print something. We're going to see, give it a couple more seconds. But hey, Julian, so far it's been an awesome show. Thank you so much for stopping by. I think the community really appreciates it.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. I hope it's been informative as much as I can be.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I keep forgetting, they put text question. Okay, can we ask Julian if the weather code / animation is improvable to be more friendly towards older systems, so laptop / lag? So this is more of like a technical question, like for streamlining for lower end PCs. Also, P.S. Julian, you are awesome. So much talent.
I'll chalk that up to you haven't heard me talk for as long as the rest of the day. So to get out of this on a technicality, the question was, can you ask me? So I'll just say no, and then we can move on.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that. So.
Hey, no. I will comment that yes, I really hope that there is adjustable, because there's so much going on in Foxhole. I really hope that, I forget the term. It's like not streamlining, but like making things friendlier for lower end PCs, or even just the option to do it, because it's like, man, I really don't want to run this much snow. But then there is like a tactical element of that too, because there's the joke, like I remember playing Arma, and there's always the joke, well, if you want to make Arma run faster, just turn off the grass. I was like, well, hold on. That's a severe disadvantage for what we're trying to do here.
It's just out of my I have no influence on it.
That's perfectly fine.
I know we're obviously not going to ignore something like that if everyone's if it's a huge problem.
Mm-hmm. I think performance does take precedence, but there is something to consider about, like, well, this much snow on the screen is meant to be, it's a tier 3 storm, for instance. This is it's supposed to be hard to see to a degree, I would think. So how much of that can you take away? I don't know. Maybe there's more ways to streamline that I'm not familiar with, but there's a slight balancing act.
If your old laptop catches on fire because of the snow, is that not more immersive into the is that not a bonfire in game?
It should be. It should be. Please, haptics, real life haptics. Thank you so much.
I hope that does not happen to you anyway.
Yeah, that was the Psalms, Swords of Morrow's Prince Laharal. There you go. I'll look back on that one. Thank you so much. Welsh King wasn't able to get in with a dev last time, but we've got him in here at the tail end of the show. Welcome back to Zero Dark PressCorps. Welsh King, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me back.
What do you got?
I've got. Give me a sec. I've actually written stuff down just so I was pretty clear.
Awesome.
So one of the questions, and it's come up quite a lot with Logi and everybody else talking about sort of the backline stuff. But are there any concept designs for things like a more versatile flatbed or different truck variants? Because I know a lot of people at the minute are talking about things like concrete, oil can't be stacked. Julian, is there any concept for sort of like an open-backed vehicle, like an open-backed truck, sort of similar to what you can collect components with for more carrying stuff?
An easy answer is to say yes, but to explain it a little bit more, when I did the flatbed truck initially, I think there was about 7 designs that got tossed out. So it's like stuff I can't show you guys because it's still possible. If that makes
yeah.
Yes, but I have not specifically started anything new.
Cool. It's good. It's good to know. It's good to know that obviously it's being thought about, at least, because I know it's become a bit of a big question at the minute. Is sort of making logistics a bit more versatile and dynamic in order to sort of bring people more towards that side of the gameplay, because it's such a large part. I know frontline. Everybody loves frontline fighting and doing a bit of partisan work, but the logi side, the building side, is such a large part of the game, and I guess that sort of flows into my next question of sort of tools. Are there any designs for alternative tools? Because at the minute we've got the hammer, the shovel, the sledgehammer, the wrench, and that's pretty much about it. So I know some of the guys have talked about like some sort of digging tractor in replacement of the construction vehicle, where they're doing like for helping dig in bunkers quicker, or doing some sort of other tools.
Yes, is the short answer again.
Cool.
We looked into I've researched all of the old trench digging contraptions that have existed and a whole bunch of other logi related stuff. But yes, consideration has been made. Yeah,
that's cool to know. One sort of last question, and I'll finish my sort of closing point. We got told there was a lot more weapons that we hadn't seen. Yep. Do we have any sort of idea of how many? Is it just a couple? You don't have to give us specific numbers. No. Is it just 1 or 2, or is it there's a large part that we haven't seen for?
There is a large part that you haven't seen.
That's cool. That's good to know, because.
Is it like Destiny levels where it's just I think the shooter, looters, schlooters, they say is the trendy word, but are you guys actually aiming for Destiny levels or Division levels of guns and weapons?
That is up for internal debate.
Okay, it might be too much, but are you aiming for 100 different weapons?
Depends on the dev you talk to, because sure. I know Max is on team flood the system, and it's a debate as to how much we want at this point. So far, though, there's a significant portion that you guys haven't seen yet. Some of it is reasoned because of we effectively didn't have time to get it done for the big reveal, sure. And it'll be kind of drip fed in the same way that we did with the various tanks. We got to the point where you guys were no more tanks, stop it, cut it out, do something else. And we were no, this is the arms race, you deal with it and take these more tanks. Anyways, the focus has shifted for a while, and you'll see guns kind of fed into the game the same way.
That's really, really nice to know, because I know a lot of the guys have been talking about various weapons coming in. I know you've throughout this podcast, HMGs come in and what's coming when, but I know a lot of the guys have seen some sides of some weapons, some sides of more than others, and there's been a lot of back and forth and complaining about various stuff, but it's nice to know there's a lot more coming in the pipeline.
If you enjoy complaining about offset tanks and who has what, then
it's always two kids in a
right?
It's always 2 kids in a toy box. Who gets the car first? It's always going to be that situation. I'd just like to say, as my closing point, and I'll leave you with this one. Thanks for designing the new Warden Jagdpanther. I'll leave it there.
You're talking about the hinted one?
The hinted artwork.
Yeah, I looked at
on Reddit someone called it a stealth tank, so now I want to call it a stealth, even though that might not be accurate. I'm amused by the term stealth tank.
Well, I do a lot of analytical work and like analyzing your design, whether you based on it or not. It's very suited to the German Jagdpanther from Second World War.
I'll be honest, when I saw it too, I was like, this is either like a Stug or a Jagdpanther, and it's got to be Jagdpanther. Or a Hetzer or something.
Doesn't fit Hetzer, doesn't fit Stug, but the back of it and even the commander position very much fit that Jagdpanther.
It's got to be something like that.
In it won out. Okay, before we knew we were pushing it back, it won out for the promo art because the design hid a lot from that viewpoint. Like that, it was just like I specifically told Mark, I was like, I want to tease them with like the back of something.
What could possibly be on the front?
I'll say it either. I'll say just either an arty gun or it'll be some sort of anti-tank gun. But it could be a siege cannon. I'm just I'll leave it there. But yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Thanks for answering questions, and cheers for the art. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Welsh. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying up so late. You and all those across the pond who stay up just for this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we love it. So thanks a lot, guys. Take it easy.
All right, I think this might be our last question approaching here at the top of the hour, but I think it's going to be a few people, including 82DK's Stranger Days, Sammy apparently, and Maybar.
Hello, yes, we are the DK Gang.
Hello.
DK Gang.
We've come here to incite clan wars.
DK Rep. All right, what do you got for us here?
So I actually have something very specific because it's not necessarily a question, it's more of a statement. In the past, the developers have asked us to assist them with balancing things, and we've also been told to give like specific numbers, like 30%, 10%, 20%. Julian, I know you're not the best person to necessarily discuss this with, but I know that the devs watch this, and hopefully having you here might get it to them a bit better. We've also asked them for specific numbers on vehicles and weapons, so that way we can like help with this stuff, but we've been told, no, we won't tell you those things. I have a frustrating time because I actually have a lot of free time on my hands, what with being locked inside due to the snow all over Texas and in general.
Oh,
and I enjoy the
snow. We don't get snow here. We get 120-degree weather. Our trash cans melt into the sidewalk before it snows. But like I want to help. I want to give input. I want to give feedback. I want to say, yeah, no, the Warden rifle has too much rate of fire, or the Colonial rifle is doing too much damage per shot, but I can't give that input without sounding like a biased Warden because I don't have these numbers. We don't have these numbers. We have to just sort of guess and hope that the dartboard that we threw our projections at is the same one that y'all are using.
I can't speak to that because I don't deal with balancing. But I think I can't give a reason why they want to present the information the way that they do. But I do think I can just suggest that a kind of, and I'm sure you guys have written them up before, the suggestions, but kind of go above it one tier and write a suggestion about how you want to, put it into a constructive breakdown of how you want to help. If that makes, ignore the numbers, ignore saying we want to help with guns or whatever, and be like, as a community, here's the style in which we want to give collective feedback, and we want that, your move, devs, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, what if I could, but I actually can't.
But that it's kind of if you want a new, or shift the focus of the megaphone that you have, if that makes sense, would be my suggestion. But again, I'm not, I don't take part in those balancing meetings and stuff, so I don't know.
It's just one of those things, right, where we've been asked to give input, we've been asked to give feedback, because, we're here on the dev branches, we do this stuff. In the past, I was on more dev branches, but we aren't really given information as to what we're testing. It's kind of like we're on a unofficial NDA where we can't actually talk about any of the stuff that we're touching, but not because we don't want to, because we just can't.
Is that intended? I don't know if you can speak to that, Julian.
I can't. I don't. I
Gotcha.
feel bad.
Not your realm, but for sorry.
I
Strangers,
had
go ahead.
actually talked to the devs in the past about this, and I agree with some of the reasoning on it. Kind Then of you might the know more than me. Yeah. Well, the reasoning behind not telling us about the numbers is because the devs didn't want us to be concerned with the numbers. They were afraid that we would balance and argue all of the fun out of the game. And I mean, we've already done that without numbers, so imagine how awful it would be if we actually had numbers to argue over.
Now, there's the opposite of that, where the first thing I was thinking of is that, if you don't have the numbers, how can anyone even make suggestions in the first place or discuss things? I think people in the chat are saying that too. Yeah, but it's a choice because, the moment you do, quote unquote, release the numbers on everything, it becomes it becomes a head game. People will talk out of their rear end. They will pretend to talk about things. They will superimpose, they'll just feel differently about this. Well, I know for a fact this does 30 more damage, so it has to be overpowered. Just looking at it alone, that does affect how you play. That affects how you give feedback. On the other hand, that's the basis of it. Maybe you do need that. I think this is you're right, Stranger. This has been brought up multiple times by Mark, not just on this show, but also up and down Foxhole Discord, Reddit, and whatnot. And I think by now it would be safe to say that the devs realize exactly what people have been arguing in terms of wanting to know things ahead of time, more clarity on dev branch. And I think by now, months away from 1.0, however many years into the development of this game, they are fully aware and they're just sticking to their guns. That is a design decision. Just extrapolating purely from what the pattern that we have seen, knowing that they are very thorough in what they see in terms of people discussing things everywhere, including watching this clip right now, I'm sure. And maybe we have to make peace with it. I know personally, I have just kind of made peace with certain things that the devs do that maybe I don't necessarily like. But just kind of
I've been stressing this more recently because with all of the asymmetry being introduced into the game, and also with all of the just sort of stuff being introduced, no offense, Julian, I absolutely love the artwork and art direction of the game. It's just so hard to balance these things, and there's been a lot of power creep going on. For example, the Colonial semi-auto rifle and burst rifle. The burst rifle has to be good, right? Because it's the replacement for which weapon was it again? Carbine. It has to be at least as good as the carbine. The carbine is a really good weapon. At the same time, it needs to be its own separate thing, and it needs to have numbers that can sort of match the rifle and the carbine in turn. But in doing so, it also is kind of better than the carbine and the rifle, because if 2 of those 3 shots hit, your target instantaneously dies. Pretty much, because it does almost standard bolt action rifle damage, but in a 3-shot burst. It's a sticky wicket to balance. It's just a bunch of hard nonsense.
That is an aspect of game development that I'm glad I didn't head down towards.
Yeah, for sure.
Super
exactly.
Small thing, but I'm not that type of person.
Yeah, last year when Mark brought up, asymmetry, revealed that asymmetry is going to be a thing last year, I think, right? Everyone was bringing this up, and the devs crossed the Rubicon. There is no going back, and yeah, you're right. It is. This is a nightmare, and there are still some days where I'm like, man, I just wish we didn't. But on the other hand, it is kind of cool to see it fleshed out this much now. I mentioned earlier, I make peace with some things, and
the asymmetry is nice. I just wish that you don't need to cross the Rubicon on foot. You could at least build rafts, or maybe try to build a bridge, even if you're going to burn it down afterwards.
Yeah, let me just say that when I'm playing the game for real on the live shard in the middle of a war, and I'm seeing all these things on the line, I'm not necessarily thinking about, which this might be a bad thing, right? I'm not necessarily, this is not even a defense, but I'm not thinking, this tank might hold up a little bit more under pressure from this weapon or whatever. I'm just thinking, is this anti-tank? All right, let's just freaking use it, right? Okay, this is an S. This shoots bullets fast. Okay, then fine. Yeah, let's just use it. That's a little better than in this situation or whatever. I'm not thinking so precisely, and that might be a bad thing for some people if you're hearing this. But when you have so many,
like a player level, on like a player level, asymmetry is kind of nice. It's nice as a single individual to have this sort of adventure. I do remember way back when I had no idea about Foxhole and I was barely introduced to clans and I was just joining the Discord servers like 3.5, 4 years ago. Shit, it's been that long. I had like this fun adventure basically every time I booted up Foxhole because I didn't understand the systems. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know about all the defenses or the structures or how the AI worked. And it was fun, right? But at the same time, as a player who knows a lot, some of that fun has been balanced out of the game for me. I know too much to just have an adventure now. I open up my map tab and I look across all the front lines and I'm like, wow, there are so many things I need to do and so many things that I should be doing. Because I know that nobody wants to do these things, and if I want my team to win, I need to do them. But it's just kind of removed the fun out of the game, knowing all of this information. At the same time, though, I also know that if I don't talk about these kinds of subjects and these things, then it just won't get talked about or won't get anything done about it. But also, I've taken up a lot of time. I think Maybar actually did have something he wanted to discuss.
I think we'll have to close on that. I know we got Sammy's questions in earlier, but yeah, I think we'll close on Maybar's.
Yes, I actually have a question about the tarps on open top vehicles. So in the concept arts before, I've seen some vehicles with tarps behind them, and now that we have freezing, which is a huge problem in open top vehicles, I was just wondering if we would have some sort of tarp system to close up the open top vehicles so the crew doesn't freeze in them.
I think the possibility exists. This falls into the this is a good suggestion for the weather system. This is a good, obviously I designed them before weather with the idea, or like I knew weather was coming, but I literally just thought visually, if you have an open top vehicle, 9 times out of 10 in real World War II photos, they typically had a tarp because they would cover, for obvious reasons. So I wanted that just as a look for the vehicle. But I do think that is worth considering. I do think that's a good thematic suggestion in the realm of suggestions of the petrol thing and whatnot. And it's definitely worth us considering in the future because they're there and it makes total sense and it would be cool visually.
All right. That will be it from me.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. I actually like the last week's mini roundtable, but do like hearing from devs, particularly Julian. But hey, Stranger, Maybar, Sammy, thanks so much for stopping by. Appreciate it.
I can give you these box to vent, and I'm sure Mark is listening.
Just on a final note, PressCorps, I love everything you do with the radio. I love the stream so much. I think it helps the community a lot, so I thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
And Julian, I am absolutely in love with your concept art and promo art and every kind of art. And I can't wait for the art book.
Yeah,
more electronic age,
the more chance it'll have of happening.
In the electronic age, voices are overrated. It's all about what you produce and what you can do for people.
Exactly.
Actually, that's good advice for to the question way earlier about if someone wants to become a concept artist. It's literally the amount that you can produce and how, this is really, if you want to win out your interview versus someone else's interview, you need to be able to show that you can consistently produce, if that makes sense. Your art from one piece of art to another piece of art is consistent because they're paying you to make product. So there's a real world consideration where you're getting paid for consistency because they need product out of you, and the product just happens to be design. But that it's worth mentioning that.
Yes, would you definitely kill it?
Thanks.
Only if it's a head, sir. Only if that tank is a head, sir. If not, then it's all for naught. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Good night.
All right. Hey, Julian, I just wanted to say, awesome awesome coming up into the show.
Yeah.
It was a really good show, and mixed in with some different changes too in the background. But yeah, Julian, I hope you had fun.
I did. I had a note I wanted to mention that wasn't really a topic of anything before we go up, and that's something that I see and something that came up was a lot of people being like, "Oh, I'm going to skip a war till the next update war," and I feel like there's like good, and I'm not saying you don't have to skip it. Like if you're burnt out or if you want to have like take a break or whatnot, that's great. Like you should be playing the game to have your fun, and whatever your fun is. Like just the devs. It's weird to say we're pro people taking a break, but like we totally get it.
Well, you care. You actually like.
Yeah, we care. Yeah, I've been burnt out playing other games before too, or at times where I have been. Like we're all nerds to some degree. So, enjoy. I hope you guys really like when Winter Army hits the ground running. I'm so excited that the meta, not that the meta was bad before, from my point of view. I'm just excited. Whenever a game has a huge meta like shake up, it's super exciting for the exact like Street Fighter reason I mentioned before. It's most fun when everybody sucks.
Yeah, 1-2 punch of both weather, severe weather, and perma-damage, No Man's Land. That is. That's why I mentioned. Honestly, it might even be too much for us to handle, and it will probably devolve into a massive mess. But to be honest with you, as someone who is more into the macro, more into the stories, more into the all that, like that's right where I live. I am. If it's a mess, we're gonna be there. I'm part of that mess. I love it. All right, Julian. Thank you so much. I'm going to say a few words to close out the show, but I just wanted to say I hope we can get you on in the future as well.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Have a good one.
Cool. Later.
Okay. Well, thank you so much to everyone for listening in to another Zero Dark PressCorps. I think that one was a little better paced, but for multiple reasons other than just the 7-minute soft timer we had. Certainly that helped, and I'm definitely going to use that going forward. But also we had Julian on, who I think everyone kind of had to pivot, do an audible in terms of their questions. A lot more about quick and easy, not necessarily simple, but faster kind of aesthetic and art questions that kind of float along better. And also some people who I love. I'm not even saying this is a bad thing, but some people. I think last show we had a lot of people who had big picture questions, and I love picking their brains apart. I love those 15-minute, 20-minute calls, but those were getting a little out of hand, and that's fair. A lot of them reached out to me, like Lek, who was like, yeah, hey, do something to speed it up, because I know we were getting a lot of big picture questions last time, so shout out to him for part of that suggestion. And we'll see how it goes when we get Mark and or Max back into the show, but I think we're going to stick with that in the future. As for PressCorps things, just quick notes. We do have some. I'm just keep teasing this. It's bad that I'm doing that, but we have some things lined up. I don't know if we'll make it to the Wednesday or the update war, but it's going to happen no matter what, and we cannot wait. All of us in the PressCorps cannot wait to show you what we've got in store. But I guess I'll leave it at that. Hey, for the PressCorps, I'm Geoffrey Jennings. Good night. And good fight.
PressCorps from the PressCorps is a non-profit creative collective of artists, reporters, and players from the MMO video game Foxhole by Clapfoot. Our mission is to engross our audience in and amplify the stories of this unique war ecosystem. The PressCorps was founded in early 2018 by former PlanetSide 2 Radio Free Araxis host, Captain-in-Arms. It is a separate community entity and is in no way representative of Clapfoot. For more info, visit the PressCorps Discord through the link below.